Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the official third episode of this Let's Code series. Back in episode 2.5, we accommodated the changes for the new interface of MangaFast.net. As you see on the right hand side, it's pretty new, it's pretty cool. So if your code literally doesn't work after watching episodes 1 and 2, I highly recommend you watch that short episode. It's only 9 minutes long, so it's not even too bad. But above, I'll link the video for you so that you don't have to end up searching for it. So in this episode, we'll go over the main downloading aspects of our manga chapters. So before we do that, I'm going to run over the overview of what's going to end up happening inside this episode. So recall that in episode 1 and 2, we created a folder of the manga you wanted to download in the directory where your current Python script runs. So in this case, our example manga that we want to download is Tokyo Ghouls. So basically, to start off this function, we will basically create a folder for each chapter we want to download inside the folder of the manga we want to download. And then inside these chapter folders will contain JPEG images or PNG images of the pages of that specific chapter. And there will be basically 1 to n amount of images inside each chapter folder. And then after we get that done, we will use all the images to create a PDF named the chapter number, for example, like chapter_1.pdf. And this will reside in the manga titles folder and outside of the chapters folder. Then we will simply delete the chapter folder and all images inside it using the shuttle library. And then we just rinse and repeat with each chapter until we have only PDFs of each chapter inside the manga titles folder we specify to download from. All right, let's hop into the coding now. So now that we have all the chapters that we want to download, we are going to check to see, if there is chapters. So we're just going to do a simple check to see, if there are chapters that we want to download. Well, I mean, let's say if there's no chapters to download, right? Like we just print out something dumb like no chapters to download. And then we just, I don't know, return out of the function return out of the main function and just basically quit the program. Or if there is, so if, let's say there is chapters to download and it's greater than 0, we're just going to call the download chapter function. Then we're just going to pass in the chapter, the title directory, and basically the edited title name. And else print an error occurred. I don't think we'll ever get here though. So let me fix that and bam. All right, now let's streamline up all the way under the find chapter function and create the new function. And it's just going to pass in the chapter, here's chapters, directory, and then title. So now we're going to do a for loop. So let's just go through for all of the chapters. And then now we're just going to type like a simple message to the user saying like, print beginning chapter. Oh, beginning to download chapter, my bad. And then chapter, and then we'll just do this and then dot format it. I can't even spell today. So now we're gonna go request the URL of that chapter. So it'll be simple as r equals request.get chapters I and then links. And then we're just gonna do a soup equals beautiful soup dot and then r.content and then HTML5 library. Now let's go replicate that on MangaFast.net. So let's go to Tokyo Ghoul, expand this over here, pretend to go here, and let's look at chapter 145. Let's say that we're on chapter 145. Actually, my bad. Let's check to see if we're on chapter 0. Okay. So now we want to get all of these images right here. See all these images? And now we can also see that, if you inspect elements and then you grab this source image and then you go and search it, it'll pull up the image, right? So that's what we want to extract right now. So let's go right here and let's go find out where all of the things are. So let's do a soup. So let's look at this. So content comic pi4 contains all these images, it looks like, which will contain all the pages essentially. Let's do a soup.find on it. So let's do div equals soup.find on the div with the attributes. Now we're going to create this images array that will store all of the image links essentially. So we want to store all of these image links inside this images array. So we're just do a for image in div.findAll. We're going to do it on the image since it's under this div content comic pi4, so image. And then we're going to search for the attributes. So you're probably wondering why we're doing attributes of loading lazy. So we found out that the image and that image has the attributes loading equals lazy. So for all of these, they're all loading equals lazy. So that's how we're going to find all these images. Then we're simply going to do images dot append image and then source, because the image link is in the source attribute of the image tag. Now that we have all the images of that chapter, we need to basically define a folder that will contain all of these images inside that folder. So going back to the note card sketch, we see that, our Tokyo Ghoul is then going to make a chapter _1 folder. So that's what we're going to do right now. So let's go and do something like image folder path equals os.path.join the current directory, and then we're going to label it as chapter _ plus string of the chapters and then chapter. Yeah, so this will essentially create like our current working directory and then chapter _1. So in order to make that like visible inside our folder, we'll just do os.make directory image folder path. So we also need to create like another check to see if, the chapter is empty and if there was no like images to download. So let's do a simple check. So if the length of the images was equal to 0, just print chapter. So let's notify us if, there was no like images that could be extracted. So this could be due to an error. This is basically just a troubleshooting thing. So let's just copy this break thing down here and then continue. Actually, I just realized this. We should probably move this little troubleshooting code up beneath this for loop, because we should check to see if there's literally no chapters to download or like pages to download, and if so, just go to the next chapter so that we don't end up just creating a random folder out of nowhere. Now we are going to go through all of the image links essentially now. So for j in range length of the images, so now we're going to go through all the URL image links. And so let's just copy and paste one of these down right here. So let's just look at this real quick. So it essentially is this long URL. And what we're basically most interested in is literally just page 1. We just want to know it's page 1. So we're going to only just grab this and name our image basically this page1.jpg. So in order to do this, we need to get the string. We need to get the string, or we need to find basically page, this page index. So let's do images j dot find page dash, and then plus the length of page dash. So you're probably basically wondering that this dot find is kind of weird. So let's actually break this down a little bit. So this right here is going to find the first index that will appear right here. So it'll find this index number, and then we're adding the length of page dash because it'll add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'll add 5 index values to this, and it'll land on basically the value. So this will tell us that we're looking for page, or it'll extract. So start is basically 1, the index of 1, essentially, the index of the number. So I hope that clears up that funky notation. So the next thing that we end up doing is So we need to figure out if it's a JPEG or a PNG file, a PNG link or a JPEG link. So let's do a simple if statement. So images j dot find dot JPEG equals -1. So we'll do the end equals images j. So we're just getting the ending index of that .jpeg link. So we're just going to get the index up to here. And then we're going to save the file extension under a variable. This will be key later. So we'll do the same thing with .png files. So now we're going to do an else statement just to say, that the file extension is not like implemented. So we'll just have to implement it later if it comes down to that. So now we're gonna grab the page number. So let's just do page num equals images j and then start to end. So basically what we end up doing is, so what we did was we grabbed this index right here of 1 and then the end is right here. So we would get everything between start and end, which would be the page number. So in this case it'd be 1. So that's what the whole start and end variable that we created. And now we're going to grab the result of the page, the image link. So we'll do a request to the internet and get the image link. So now this will basically open up that image link into the browser. So let's go and create basically a file name for that image link. So let's grab the file name equals os.path.join. So now we're going to grab the image folder path. And then we're also going to join the page number and also join the file extension. So basically what you're going to get is something like Tokyo Ghoul. Let's say this is the folder. And then 1.jpg if it's a JPEG image. So let's do file equals open fname. And then let's do some writing with binary capabilities. So this will allow us to throw the image request result inside the file. So file.write res.content. And then we're just going to close the file. So basically what we just created now is all the JPEG images of that chapter that we want to download. So now the last step to do is put all those JPEG images into a single PDF file. So we're going to get out of this loop and let's just call this image paths equals this random array. So this will be a place to store all the images essentially. So let's just do for file and sorted glob.glob image folder path plus everything. So basically everything with a file extension with the file extension name. So basically what this is doing is it'll sort the file directory basically by numerical order starting from page 1 to page n. So I didn't know how like the files would be written and sorted inside the folder. So I just made it so it sorts it automatically through basically the time it was created. So now all of the images, the JPEG images are now all sorted. What we're going to end up doing is we're just going to do a try except statement. So image equals, so we're just going to open the image. And now we're going to convert it to PDF. Or no, not PDF, RGB. And then we're just going to append it to the image paths array. And this is where all the images are going to be stored. Except images do not load properly from site. This is probably due to the website's fault. You'll see why later though. And we're just gonna do continue. All right, so now for the last bit of code that we have to write. So out of this for loop, we're just gonna do another try statement where we're basically gonna, so we have all the images inside an array. So now we're gonna put them all in a PDF essentially right now. So we're just gonna do image1 equals image path that's 0. And we're just gonna pop the first one off of that array. So it's kind of weird notation. This is basically how it's supposed to be done, apparently. I don't know. I was reading off some websites that ended up doing this, so why not? So we're just gonna grab the chapter number. And now we're gonna get the PDF's name. So os.path.join. So we're gonna get the current working directory, and then so image1.save. So we're gonna grab this PDF, save all equals true, and then append images equals IAM-path. So basically what's going on here is, so we basically save the first image, we pop the first image, we get the chapter number, we create a chapter 1.pdf basically inside the directory of the manga titles folder, and then we just save all the images from image paths to the PDF essentially. And now we're just gonna go remove that chapter folder that will contain all the image files for that chapter. So we're gonna use the shuttle library. Now we're done, guys. Now we're done. We're gonna go test this soon. All right, guys, I actually found a couple bugs in my code. So on line 15009, we gotta put an S at the end of requests. And then going down, we need to os.path.join. We need to combine page num and file extension. And down below right here, I actually forget to add format chapter num. All right, guys, I actually found a couple more mistakes. So on line 195, we need to add an S to the images array. And then down here on line 223, we have this on error equals remove read only. So this is going to actually be a function that we need to implement that basically says, you know, what do we do on this image path? So we're just going to create a simple function called remove read only, pass in the function, the path, and nothing. And we're just going to change the permissions on that folder. I actually didn't write this code. This is found on Stack Overflow somewhere, but essentially it recursively removes everything inside the titles folder. Like the it removes everything in the chapters like folder, which contains all the images. So it recursively removes them all using this remove read only on error function. So these are really rookie mistakes on my part, and I apologize, guys, for the inconvenience. Just kind of did this fast and didn't even, like, I guess, check my work. So sorry, guys. So the moment you guys all been waiting for, we're gonna test this code once and for all. So let's go do that by typing Python Manga Extractor. We will then type in our manga to download, which is Tokyo Ghouls. On the right hand side, we're gonna have the file directory, which we're gonna monitor really closely while our code runs. So you see it created the Tokyo Ghoul folder. Let's go in there real quick and let's just download chapters 0 and 1. So on chapter 0.0, it's extracting all the images of chapter 0 essentially. So all of these into its own folder. And then it deleted it, and now it's gonna create this chapter 0.0 PDF. And it seems like it's already done. So here's what we're left off with. And let's actually compare it, compare the accuracy now. So we opened up that, we opened up this, mangafast.net's on the side, and our PDF is on the right. So if we scroll down, it looks, to me, it looks correct, honestly. Everything lines up with each other. We extracted all the images successfully. And let's go all the way down at the bottom. That's the last panel. And here we are. These are the last two panels. And I believe my code is 100% correct. Basically, the functionality of the Manga Extractor is basically completed as of now. The next big thing is to add basically more functionality to the user experience, such as adding a progress bar while downloading the Manga Extractor, the Manga chapter. And we will also connect to Google Drive so that once we download our manga chapters, we will also download a copy to Google Drive for the on-the-go experience. All of this will be featured on part 4, so stay tuned, guys. Alright, guys, that's a wrap for part 3. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace, guys.